18th, 2019 meeting of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners will please come to order. We are very happy to see you tonight and to join those of you who happen to be watching by TV, I almost said by remote control, but anyway. I failed to remind you, all of you, that this is Heart Month. And though we use it for love, make sure you use heart-healthy habits at home. That's important. Make your heart last as long as it can. Will you join me for a moment of prayer and then the pledge? Heavenly Father, we come tonight as a group of commissioners who are banded together by a common theme of providing core services for the citizens in our county. We appreciate you and all of thy goodness, and we ask that you look beyond our faults and help us to know that we are here for the common good of all of the citizens of Cumberland County. We appreciate all that you have done for us and that you will do it for us in the future. Amen?
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believe that our Madam Chair, our students are not here.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. So we'll move into our special recognition this evening.
All right, Cumberland Cares Award.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Let's do it.
Madam Chairman, County Commissioners, I'd like to call Ms. Tara Wright up. Good evening. Cumberland County has experienced back-to-back disasters in the past 2 years with Hurricanes Matthew and Florence. And we've seen the need for volunteers to help with the relief efforts. But boots on the ground need coordination and direction, and a person with leadership skills and a drive to help efforts work efficiently and effectively. Tonight, we recognize one such volunteer, Ms. Tara Wright, who spearheaded the creation of Spring Lake Strong, and you can see it on the shirt. At this time, she's up here to receive the Cumberland County Cares Award, which was enacted by this board many years ago. Cumberland County Cares Awards was established in 2007 and recognizes volunteers and to publicly thank and acknowledge their contributions. This award is for individual groups or agencies. Nominations are made to a committee which selects deserving citizens. And we've got one of our board members that sits on the Community Cares, Ms. Judy Dawkins here. Mayor Dobbins was going to be here from Spring Lake, but with this weather, he was sick and under the weather. And so Hurricane Floyd hit Spring Lake hard, and its flood waters left a catastrophic mess in places near the Little River. People were left without a home, and entire businesses were wiped out. Families faced a harsh reality and an urgent need to rebuild their lives. Ms. Tara Wright organized a group of residents to form Spring Lake Strong, and the group wasted no time helping families recover from the hurricane. They helped with the immediate needs like food, water, and clothing, and then helped with cleaning homes and debris from affected neighborhoods. Before Hurricane Florence, Spring Lake Strong didn't exist, but in a few short months, the group has left an impressive footprint of assistance and actions to help Spring Lake recover. Fortunately for all of us, Spring Lake Strong has gone beyond the town of Spring Lake. The group has worked with the Cumberland Disaster Recovery Coalition, helping provide information about resources available for hurricane victims. Spring Lake Strong has partnered with other nonprofits like the Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, Second Harvest Food Banks, and many churches. Ms. Tara Wright is a woman of energy, exuberance, and compassion. She rolled up her sleeves and reached out to her friends and neighbors in need. Her outstanding leadership in Spring Lake is making a difference in the lives of many people. We salute you and we thank you. She was recognized by a citizen of this community who made a recommendation to Cumberland Community Cares, and that organization decided that Spring Lake Strong and Ms. Tara Wright is a valuable asset to this community. Commissioners, and let me give you an award. I'm up here, standing up here. Cumberland County Cares presented to Tara Wright, Cumberland County volunteer, in recognition of outstanding services to your community and for caring enough to make a difference. Presented this 18th day of February 2019 by the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you so much. Being a Spring Lake resident and seeing dear friends and family being blocked off by the roads with the flood waters, we just sprung to action. We didn't really think at the time that it would become so big and we would have so many people reach out to us to want to help the residents. And so now we just want to keep it going and bring everything that Fable has inside of Spring Lake so they're not forgotten. And so we just want to help the residents outside of the aspects of disaster, but also with other resources and training just to make Spring Lake a better place. So I thank you. Yes, so I have some of the members. There's Michael Wan, Kristen Kesey, my brother William Wright, his wife Mo. So if you guys could come up, because without you guys, I couldn't have done this. So they've gotten up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. We've sat up in open fields, parking lots, wherever we could get a spot, because we don't have a building as of this moment, just to make sure that the residents were able to get whatever it was that they needed. So I have to give a good thanks to them also. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think that's good.
We're going out there to present it to her.
They all went to Pine Forest.
Oh, they all went to Pine Forest? No wonder you and Jimmy were smiling so hard. The Trojans, right? Spring Lake Strong, the Trojans strong. All right.
You got to represent?
One thing about it, we're not going to hold that against them.
Hey, start early.
Oh!
After I heard all that hard work, I just figured they went to Pine Forest.
You knew that, right? There you go.
They teach Trojans.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. This brings us to the public comment period. This is an opportunity for the Board of Commissioners to hear from the citizens. This evening, comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and I believe we have one speaker, and that is District Court Judge Steele.
All right, thank you.
Deal with a spill. Good
evening.
Good evening.
Are there other
Judge Steele is our sole public comment speaker.
We are always,
You have to say it like that.
we are always glad to have you, Judge.
It's a dubious distinction, Madam Chair. Robert Steele, 117 Dick Street. Let me share with you our numbers for last month, if I might. The jail numbers actually rounded down to about 718 was the lowest number. Today we're at 735, and as you know, it's 814 capacity. So it sounds like it's up, but it's just simply the way it's been this time of year consistently. I want to give you a little bit of a backdrop. Many of you have been involved, read, kept abreast of human trafficking and some of the movements we have going on here in Cumberland County. We've just received a grant. Judge King has been gracious enough to accept my invitation to spearhead a project, and it's going to develop a template for judicial education among our 10 district court judges and 4 superior court judges should they choose, and then it's opened up and it'll be copied and used throughout the state for all the judges to combat human trafficking. As we all know, and it's not a bright stat, but I'll explain it, 56% of all the arrests for human trafficking come out of Cumberland County for the state. But the good news is
Repeat
that
please. I mean,
56% of all charges for human trafficking originate in Cumberland, the one county of Cumberland, versus the other 99. And I think that's attributable to Sheriff Wright has a specialized unit in human trafficking. The Fayetteville Police Department has a specialized unit in human trafficking. They are well versed. They are trained in dealing with trauma and victim-centered approaches that just don't allow folks to kind of come in, report, and then fall through the cracks. You may have read about Five Sparrows, which was a community organization geared specifically towards victims of human trafficking. Most of them are sex trafficked. Some are labor trafficked in the historical sense. But when you hear that number, be abreast that we are very, very ahead of the curve compared with other locations. I've looked at Charlotte's numbers. Moore County, I think there were 3 charges generated out of Charlotte. And the sex trafficking trade is generated where you have conventions, professional sports, big, huge events like PGA events. So what it tells us is we are very much ahead of the curve, and it's to be, the law enforcement's to be applauded. Judge King is going to pick this program up. She'll spearhead it, so when you see her, kind of give her a pat on the back. She's very capable, and she's very interested, and she's very passionate about this issue. So I thank you for your time. I'm sorry that I'm the only speaker, but maybe you are glad I'm the only speaker. So thank you.
Thank you, Judge. We appreciate you. Madam Manager.
There are no changes this evening. No changes to the agenda.
Move for approval of the agenda. Second.
All right, I've heard a motion. Seeing no hands or buttons, those in favor? Please raise your
Unanimous.
hand. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Item 2 is our presentations, and we have 2 this evening. The first one is a presentation on Just Ask, an initiative for transitioning veterans, and this evening we have Major General retired Rodney Anderson.
Okay. Major General Anderson, retired, come forward. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Good evening. Let's try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
Very good. Madam Chair, Commissioners, fellow citizens, my name is Rodney Anderson, Major General, U.S. Army retired, and a soldier for life. Thank you for this opportunity to address what I consider to be a very important decision in the lives of transitioning veterans: where to settle and start a new career. Please take every opportunity to invite military veterans and their families to settle Fayetteville, Cumberland County at the conclusion of their military service. I come to you this evening to make the case and to seek your support in this very simple and individual activity. Thank you for your service is the statement often made to service members. You have each probably acknowledged military service members with this statement. Each time I hear it, I'm reminded of such good memories of friends and soldiers and families and paratroopers. I invite you to improve upon that statement by saying, thank you for your service. I invite you to settle Fayetteville, Cumberland County at the conclusion of your service. Why? Each of us has a unique response. What do you enjoy, appreciate, and value about this place you call home? In my 33 years of service, I have lived in cities and hamlets across the United States and around the world. From Hinesville, Georgia, to Tacoma, Washington, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, to Leesville, Louisiana, Vicenza, Italy, to Weijambu, South Korea, Washington, D.C., to Leavenworth, Kansas, Newport, Rhode Island, to Fayetteville, North Carolina, with great memories all along the way. My travels give me a perspective, and the perspective that allows me to compare and contrast locations. My conclusion upon retirement, and to this day, is that Fayetteville, Cumberland County is a very special place to live. And it's special because of many things. It's special, it's a special place to live, to work, to raise a family, to grow a business, and to enjoy the golden years. Amazing arts activities, almost all free. Bountiful businesses and banking. Caring, can-do churches and places of worship, one on just about every corner. A dynamic downtown area. Exceptional educational enterprises. And fantastic Fort Bragg and the men and women and their families who serve there. I could continue, but it's all about the people. You see, this place we call home is a cosmopolitan location, and that's what makes it special. Your perspective is surely different from mine, but we each have a story to tell. And so I charge you to, when you see and have a conversation with a veteran or a family member, inform, uplift, and invite them by thanking them for their service and inviting them to settle right here in Fayetteville, Cumberland County at the conclusion of their service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Anderson. I think we want a picture.
A picture? Oh.
I think we want a photo.
These photos too. Y'all check out like y'all not.
With us, yes, with us. Listen to him.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Do you promise to do it?
Thank you. Yes.
If we all do it, we'll all make a difference. You're right.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we will be in touch with you soon with some ideas that we have. You shared with me some statistics that I did not know about the recruitment of our citizens and the people who are living here on a temporary basis, how other places in the state are recruiting them to come to their hometowns and their counties. But we will get back with you. We appreciate you and what you continue to do for our entire county and all of our citizens. Thank you, General Anderson. And I'll see you in the morning, I think, at a meeting.
Madam Chair, our second presentation is Month of the Military Child, and I'll ask Ms. Tammy Wilbur Hostad to come forward, please. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. My name is Tammy Wilbur-Hoisted. I'm the Director of Development at the Rick Harriman Foundation, which is a local nonprofit that serves military families. But I'm part of the advisory board for the community blueprint of the greater Fort Bragg area. And so that's who I'm here representing on behalf of. So the community blueprint of the greater Fort Bragg area, we are much like y'all. We are a group of providers, nonprofits, and organizations both on post and off post that meet once a month to be able to identify service gaps in the community, to address barriers in veterans, service members, and family members connecting with resources in the community, and being able to share resources. So once a month when we meet, we focus on a different service topic each month, and so it ranges from behavioral health to family strength, reintegration, employment, volunteerism, financial and legal resources, education, and housing. So each month when we focus on those, we have agencies throughout the community represent and discuss to be able to share what they're doing to be able to help service members, veterans, and their family members so that we can learn from each other, and again being able to connect so that our clients are the ones who are able to benefit from our connection and making sure that they get the help that they need. It's much easier for service members and veterans and retirees to get assistance when we're able to give them a warm handoff versus just a telephone number. So in April, we are recognizing Month of the Military Child. Hopefully y'all know that Department of Defense, that they recognize April throughout all the branches of the military as Month of the Military Child. And it's an opportunity for communities to recognize our littlest heroes. Our kiddos make so many sacrifices when their parents are serving in the military. And it's purple because purple represents Month of the Military Child, because when you blend all the service branches together, when they're blended, it makes purple. And so in April, we are hosting Month of the Military Child. And Community Blueprint, this is an event that we're putting together from our advisory board. We hosted one last year. We had about 30 agencies that were a part of the event, and we had about 200 participants at it. And it's completely free to our military-connected families. So again, we're having it this year. We're hoping for even more participation. We're hosting it. It's going to kind of be the kickoff event for an event that's happening at the Rick Harriman Foundation that weekend, which is our Ninja Warrior course. And so we are going to have obstacle course challenges that will be, we'll have different skill levels. So we'll have a kid ninja, we'll have an intermediate, which is like our teen course, and we'll have a pro course. And all three of these events, or all three of these courses, are actually designed by one of our board members. He's the visionary behind American Ninja Warrior course that you see on TV. And so he designs 3 courses exclusive for military families, and so that each person that touches it gets their own opportunity to challenge their own skill level. And so at the beginning of the event, while the Ninja Warrior course runs all weekend, Month of the Military Child will be on that Saturday, April 6th, from 12 to 3:30. We have a variety of organizations that are going to be a part of it. We already have slots are filling up very quickly. We've been advertising it through Cumberland County Schools, through the Community Blueprint, through Fort Bragg, just any way that we can get that information out. But everybody who participates in the course is able to participate in it for free. And so the organizers for the Month of the Military Child, these are our board members that are part of the Community Blueprint. We have the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Cape Fear Valley. We have the Military Child Education Coalition. We have Cumberland County Schools, Moe's Heroes, the Armed Services YMCA, and my organization, the Rick Harriman Foundation. And then I provided for y'all flyers for the Month of the Military Child, and then also the flyer for the Ninja Warrior course, as well as just a pamphlet about the Rick Harriman Foundation. All right. Thank you all so much for your time. Yes, sir.
We have questions.
Yeah, it was probably out there, I missed it. Do you have the meetings at the same place at Rick's place, or do you rotate them in different spots?
We have them at the Partnership for Children the second Wednesday of every month. And they're always from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. And so would love to extend the invitation. If any of y'all ever wanted to attend, we would love to be able to have y'all at one of the meetings.
Well, there's been a ongoing challenge between Commissioner Keefe and Commissioner
Oh.
I think a children's ninja course is about all they can handle.
Kids is all I'm thinking.
You know, the kids' course is a little challenging. There's a tunnel that you got to be able to crawl through.
That left Mr. Keefe out.
But we would definitely love to, you know,
This has been
and
going on for years. This could be perfect.
we would love to be
This
able
would be
to invite
great.
y'all out to the month of the military child, and for y'all to be a part of the competition. We could make it very fun. There's also skill challenges, so if the tunnel maybe isn't up to your alley, we can do the other pieces of it. There's a zip line. And so there's a lot of fun things with it. Our kids will be successful. The kids who, Darren, when he designs it, he says every child who touches that kids course should be successful in it. And for the intermediate course, which is the teen course, he says about 75% of the kids should be successful because it should really challenge them. And for the pro course, he says bring your towel because you're going to get wet because you're going to fall into the water more than likely because it's designed to be just as hard as you see on TV.
So how old do you guys be with the pro course?
So the pro course is for 18 and older. And then for our teens who compete and who successfully complete the intermediate course, if they're 16 and older, we'll allow them with their parents' permission to give the pro course a try as well.
Well, say just for example, if you're 60 and older.
You can. You could do the pro course.
Speak for yourself. Stop looking down here at me.
Back to the children's course.
Or you could do the intermediate course, but just not compete for the prizes. But of course, you can also...
Children's course.
You can also be there and give high fives to the kids as they come off the courses, giving each of them a high five and telling them what a great job. Any other questions? So I'm going to see each of y'all out there, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank
We
y'all
probably
so
will
much.
be applauding.
I'll be right there with you applauding. I'm not getting on the courses.
Okay.
All right, well, thank y'all so much. You have a great evening.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us. We appreciate it.
Item number 3, Madam Chair, is our consent agenda.
Are there items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing no buttons, I will ask for a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
I was going to make a motion.
Ready to vote?
I'm ready to vote. All in favor?
Unanimous.
Item number 4, Madam Chair, is our public hearings. We'll begin with our uncontested rezoning cases. The first case, 4A, is case P 1816.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Board. The first case we have for you is case P 1816. The original request here was for a rezoning of 2.56 acres from R6A residential and CD Conservancy District to CP planned, planned commercial. The applicant did modify their request to instead rezone the larger tract, 95.72 acres, to mixed-use development conditional zoning. The subject property is currently vacant. PWC water and sewer is available to the property, and this case has, or the portions of this case that is in the Hope Mills town limits has already gone to their board, and they have already recommended approval of the case. Planning Board recommended the staff recommendation of approval at their December 18th, 2018 meeting.
All right. Are there questions? If not,
Do we have a public hearing?
what?
Let's do a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I had to do the public hearing. Don't I have to do a public hearing?
Yep.
I'll open the public hearing. Are there speakers?
There are no speakers.
And I'll close the public hearing. Now, Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Madam Chair, I would move that in the case of P 18-16, to approve the rezoning from R6A residential, R10 residential and CD Conservancy District to MXD, mixed use development / CZ conditional zoning, subject to the conditions within our packet, and for this recommendation to be consistent with the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan, which calls for open space, suburban residential, mixed use development, medium density mixed housing. The mixed use development designation allows for residential uses as shown on the site plan, and further finding approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested will require public utilities to be extended to an area not currently served, and the submitted site plan shows a density in harmony with the surrounding existing zoning and land uses while preserving areas not suitable for development.
Second.
I'll second. Oh, we have a second. Are there questions? Seeing none, those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Our next case is a contested rezoning case, case P1904.
Yes, ma'am. Case P1904 is a rezoning of 2.03 acres from A1 agricultural to R40 residential, or to a more restrictive zoning district located at 5153 Grays Creek Church Road, submitted by Don and Letitia Gilmore. The subject property, or the current use of the subject property, is vacant. You can see the property here in the hatched pattern. You can see the surrounding land uses. There's some single-family residential in the area, some office and institutional, which is a private airport. And then you can see the surrounding zoning also, some A1, R40A, a little bit of RR down here in the southern corner. Here's an aerial of the subject property. Here's the hydric soils, and there is a tiny piece of the property in the front left-hand corner that has some hydric soils on it, but it shouldn't be enough to affect the property. Here's a topo map showing the flow of the contour lines, which basically suggests the flow of water from the southern, the south, up to the north. Here's a picture of the subject property. West view showing Grace Creek Church Road.
Was that the ditch that we were talking about that was in the front right there that they kept talking about?
Yes.
One more back. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's a north view from Grace Creek Church Road and east view from Grace Creek Church Road also. At the planning board meeting, planning board did unanimously recommend approval of the staff recommendation at the January 15th, 2019 meeting. And I believe Mr. Gilmore is here if you have any questions for him or for me.
Are there questions? If not, oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Keith.
Thank you. All those pictures showed other houses in the area that you showed when you were looking west.
Mm-hmm.
R40 is one house per acre. A1 is really sort of one house per acre, right? Agriculture 1? Two houses?
For R40.
One house per 2 acres. So it is, you go back to the pictures, you're showing there's other homes. Yeah, all those other homes. Where is that on the aerial? Because I don't see any other across the street. And those are how are they zoned?
They are zoned A1.
Well, one house per acre.
Correct.
2 acres. One house per 2 acres. And do you know why they want R40?
I believe it's so they could put 2 units on the property, on the subject property at some point.
Okay, but every other house around there, I mean, what's happening? Is that vacant land, that R40A up there?
Yes, it appears that way. It is currently vacant. Yeah. One house in front of the R40A there.
So there is a house, that other gray parcel right there, is that R40? I'm sorry, gold parcel in the middle? Yeah.
SA1, that's right.
That's not a lot. That's where the house is at.
That's not 2 acres, though. It's not 2 acres. Because the hatch pattern is 2.03 acres.
They probably just acquired the zoning. This area wasn't zoned until 97, I think it was.
It looks like the initial zoning was 94.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there additional questions? If not, are you? If not, we will now open the public hearing. Are there speakers?
There are no speakers.
There are no speakers. I'll close the public hearing. I'll ask for questions or discussion.
I do have one last question, ma'am. Why did this come to us as a contested? It was approved by the staff, approved by the board, and there.
When it went to planning board, we had a resident in the area, a neighbor in the area, show up to contest it. He had drainage concerns on his property, which was across the street, and he was worried that this would create more drainage problems for his property. So it was contested when we took it to planning board.
When you came to the planning board, it was contested.
That's correct.
But in the packet, I think he said he wasn't opposed to it being built. He was just worried about. If you read it, it said he wasn't really concerned about it.
That's
but
correct.
That he was just worried about that drainage issue.
That's exactly right.
That if you read that, it wasn't like a big opposition.
That's right.
Yeah, I kind of read that.
All right. I think I see the resident standing if you have a question of him. All right. I don't think there are any questions, but we appreciate your attendance. Okay. Thank you. All right. What is your motion?
Marshall, you got it? I don't have it. You got it? Marshall. Oh.
Madam Chair, I have it if you want me to
Yeah.
do it. Okay.
Yes, please.
Sure. Okay. In case P19-04, I move to approve the rezoning from A1 agricultural to R40 residential and find that it is consistent with the adopted South Central Land Use Plan of 2015, which calls for farmland at this location. The farmland designation allows for 1 unit per acre with suitable soils for septic and further find that approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested is in harmony with the surrounding zoning, existing land uses, and lot sizes.
Second.
All right, you've heard the motion and the second. There are no further questions. Those in favor of the motion?
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 5, Madam Chair, are items of business. Item 5A is consideration of contract for detention center lobby renovation project. This was an item that was discussed at our February agenda session. I'll ask our Engineering and Infrastructure Director, Mr. Jeffrey Brown, to come forward and present this item.
Thank you, Ms. Cannon.
Are there differences in the way they were presented before?
Yes, ma'am. This one was not a unanimous vote, and any votes that are not unanimous go under items of business.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board. This was presented at the February 7th meeting. You know, this project is one that was budgeted and identified in our capital improvement plan, and it's part of our capital investment fund as far as the funding. Our department went through a bid process and held a bid opening on January 28, 2019. The lowest responsible and responsive bidder was submitted by Ray West Design Build, LLC, in an amount of $137,511.11. This bid process also included an alternate bid, which included replacing a portion of the exterior glass with bullet-resistant glass. This alternate bid price was submitted in the amount of $11,376.70. So therefore, tonight, we are asking the board to approve the following items, and is to accept the bids and award a contract to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, which is Ray West Design Build, in the amount of $148,887.81. This contract amount is the base bid plus the alternate bid. We also asked that the board establish a contingency in the amount of $15,000 to be used for any additional work recommended by our department and approved by the county manager. And at this time, I'll answer any questions that the board may have.
All right, are there additional questions about the bid? Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd move for approval of the contract.
All right, now I'll second your motion. Seeing no buttons, those in favor of the motion?
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, item 5B is consideration of resolutions in support of the county's top state legislative priorities. Our Assistant Manager for Intergovernmental Affairs, Ms. Shutt, will present this item.
Good evening. The Board of Commissioners met February 11th with the Cumberland County, North Carolina General Assembly delegation to discuss the county's legislative priorities. Amending the county's food and beverage tax is the county's top priority for the long session. The county is seeking to repeal the sunset provision and enlarge the scope of the tax. The other two top priorities include seeking state participation in the Grays Creek Public Water Expansion Project and funding for renovations, equipment, and technology for the county's future emergency operations and cost center at 500 Executive Place. So 3 separate resolutions in support of the county's top state legislative priorities are presented for the board's consideration tonight. The first is a resolution opposing any legislation to divert Cumberland County's food and beverage tax for its uses for debt service, maintenance, and operations of the county's arts and entertainment venues. Second resolution is seeking state participation in the Graves Creek Public Water Expansion Project. And then the third and final resolution is seeking greater flexibility for local governments in expenditure of 911 surcharge funds and adequate funding for next-gen technology in order to assist with renovations, equipment, and technology for the county's future emergency operations and call center.
Mr. Adams.
Madam Chairman, and I don't have anything with that. I think that was fine. But I think that we ought to at least do something in support of what's in front of the legislature in terms of the school building, that capital program, whether it be the Senate version or the House version. I think we ought to be in support of that. That's just mine.
All right. You proposing a change?
I think just to add that, I think it's just to be in support of whichever version comes out. One is a bond version, one is for them to do it as they go along. But I think a capital projects for the school system, we are clearly in favor of.
Could we just bring a resolution to the next meeting or something then?
That's fine by me. Yeah,
I'd
about this thing?
Yeah, I think I'd like for it to be done as maybe a separate resolution.
All right, separate resolution for the next
March
meeting.
7th. Put it on March 7th.
March
18th.
Yes, we
Don't
don't
we
have.
have, I was thinking about the committee meeting on March 7th, or have we suspended that one?
The agenda session.
The agenda session, yeah, I couldn't think of the name of it.
All right.
Yeah, bring it to that.
Okay. Mr. Keefe.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to make a motion that the board accepts all the resolutions in support of the county's top state legislative priorities.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept these priorities. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 6 are your nominations.
All right, we have nominations for the Transportation Board. There are 9 vacancies. Are there nominations? Okay.
Well, that's coming up. I'll go ahead and nominate the ones that have been recommended. For the City of Fayetteville representative, Adolphus Thomas has completed his first time as eligible for reappointment. I'd nominate him. And
okay.
For Workforce Development, Nedra Rodriguez also is eligible for reappointment. Shelter Workshop Director designee Dwayne Beeson is eligible for reappointment. Keep getting a message here. Mental Health Representative.
Terracine Gardner.
Yeah, the Transportation Advisory Board Representative Terracine Gardner, and for Emergency Medical Services Representative Suzanne King is eligible for reappointment. County Planning Department Director Cecil Combs is no longer eligible, so the Transportation Advisory Board recommends Joel Strickland. At-large Representative David McNair is eligible for reappointment, and for the MPO Representative, Transportation Advisory Board recommends Katrina Evans. For the Dialysis Center Representative, Transportation Board recommends Nikichi Kamalu, and I believe that's 9 positions that right. We have.
That's 9 nominations for the 9 positions. Are there any other nominations? All right, there are 2 vacancies for the Local Emergency Planning Committee. I'm going to ask for nominations for that board. I'm going to nominate Frederick Williams, and for the utilities position, Ray Jackson. Are there other nominations? If not, we'll go on to appointments. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair.
I believe Mr. Evans has his light on there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. The reason I placed my name because I wanted to say something before we do this Civic Center Commission vote.
All right.
There was a young lady, the young lady that's nominated now, Deneen Morton. Her name was supposed to have been on the list of the reappointments that came from the commission, the Civic Center Commission, and it wasn't added. And so really she was up for reappointment, but the name was not submitted to the Board of Commissioners for some reason. And so that's why she's up for nomination again tonight for reappointment to that particular board.
All right. Thank you. I understand.
Okay.
I understand. Thank you. And I think if you had not renominated her, I probably would have myself.
Yes, ma'am.
So I understand.
Madam Chair, at this time, we have appointments. The first is for the Civic Center Commission. There is 1 vacancy. There are 2 nominees. Excuse me. At this time, if you will permit me, I will conduct an election. All those in favor of Greg Edge?
Voting in favor of Mr. Edge, Commissioners Keefe, Lancaster, Faircloth, and Boos.
All in favor of Deneen Morton?
Voting in favor of Ms. Morton, Chair Council, Commissioners Adams and Evans.
Okay.
Is that 4 for Edge and 3 for Morton? Okay, so Greg Edge will be appointed to the Civic Center Commission. Okay, for the remaining positions, there are equal number of nominees for vacancies. For the Fayetteville Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation, the nominee is Don Broadwolf. For the Cumberland County Home and Community Care Block Grant Committee, the nominee is David Trago. For the Equalization Review Board, there are several nominees.
And appointments of officers, I believe.
Yes, and appointments for officers. We have Chairman William Carroll Beard Jr., First Vice Chair Rodney Sherrill, and Second Vice Chair Marva Lucas Moore. So for all of these positions, the Civic Center Commission, the FAEDC, the Cumberland County Home Security Block Grant Committee, and the Equalization Review Board, I move that these nominees be appointed by acclamation.
Second. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. Thank you. If there is no closed session.
Move to adjourn.
No, ma'am.
Second.
Let me
Oh.
finish.
She's gonna hit you. That's what I'm doing.
Thank you so much for your attendance tonight.
I'm here so you can't hit him. I just figured it out.